one thing is for certain, we are all looking for a little comfort right now. And when I say all of us, I also want to include the Republicans and those who voted for Donald Trump in this last election, because I fear that the people that voted for Donald Trump will have a great sense of buyer's remorse come early next year when they discover that the things that he promised them, that they voted for him for, such as reducing prices, gas prices or grocery prices, that actually he won't be able to do those things. I should also point out that the Federal Reserve brought the interest rates down again today, which will only improve inflation and is further proof that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris administration was on the correct trajectory, doing the right work to make life more affordable. But you have to understand that living in the free market as we do, in a capitalist system as we do, something that the Republicans advocate for, that it is not possible for the president to set prices or to tell companies that they have to stop making as much profit as they are. Biden made a speech today and reflected on the defeat of his vice president. He said that he will ensure a peaceful and orderly transition to a Donald Trump presidency while calling on the country to bring down the temperature. So many people have been writing to me saying it must have been rigged. I don't see how it's possible that Donald Trump could have won this election. And trust me, I'm thinking about all these options as well. I've been digging a little deeper for you, and one study found that a leading predictor of support for Trump over party affiliation, gender, race, and education level was belief in hegemonic masculinity, defined as believing that men should be in positions of power. They should be mentally, physically, and emotionally tough and reject anything considered feminine or gay. Some heterodox influencers gained a following by embodying or promoting precisely this brand of masculinity and giving their followers a script for blaming dissatisfaction on women. And we've seen that with the Joe Rogan podcast, the most popular podcast on the planet, full of toxic masculinity, and inviting guests on who spew conspiracy theories, including Elon Musk, who was on just the day before the election and was effectively begging people to vote for Donald Trump. Elon Musk, as we know, spent $44 billion buying Twitter. Now we know why. During this election cycle, Donald Trump's embrace of this bro-centric podcast scene came as he sidelined many traditional campaign tactics like door-knocking and canvassing, which we saw Kamala Harris doing right up to the last day in Pennsylvania. And it seems that Trump's rejection of these traditional methods has had no negative effect on his election bid. It may have even helped him. In fact, his victory could be an emboldening choice among heterodoxy figures who now see the great riches that can become from openly embracing the far right. Expect to see more of these bro-style podcasts crop up. Now that Donald Trump has secured his victory by whichever means, and look, not enough people came out to vote. People that we thought were Republicans who were going to vote Democrat this time, they turned out not really to exist. It was very much in our imagination, sadly. We really genuinely thought this country was full of more thoughtful, kind people than actually there are. And so maybe that was our naivety. And I certainly take responsibility for my naivety. And I genuinely thought that based on the analysis and the data that there would be many more people out there. But it seems that so many Democrats just didn't go vote. Let me tell you that I feel fired up now that I've started to see this movement picking itself up, now that I've read all of your messages that you are sending to me, writing to me, inspiring me, saying, please do not go anywhere. And it's clear to me that the mainstream and corporate media dropped the ball. They fell into the Donald Trump trap, intentionally maybe, to the point that they chose not to warn the country about the threat to democracy. They just wanted to cover him like a typical candidate. Getting shot was a winning moment for Donald Trump. Punching the air, creating that image, seeing the blood. It's kind of irrelevant that it just grazed him, because that in itself, for this Christian far-right movement, they felt that that proved that he was the chosen one. Many voters spoke of the Trump presidency with a rosy glow of nostalgia, this collective amnesia, overlooking the 400,000 excess coronavirus deaths, the worst year for jobs since the Second World War, the systematic effort to divide rather than unite Americans. In the eyes of his cult-like following, he could do no wrong. For nearly a decade, he has tapped into the long and painful racial history of America. The history of progress and backlash, stoked by the election of Obama and white Christians finding themselves in the minority, xenophobia being at the heart of Donald Trump's political identity. And his campaign spent millions on ads fueling hysteria about transgender rights, attaching it to Kamala Harris. And you combine that with this sinister assistance from Elon Musk, and it was enough for them to eke out a victory. I am still numb at the decision that 72 million Americans made with their vote for Donald Trump. I can't even watch him. Like, I haven't watched his acceptance speech, or I just can't bring myself to do that right now. I just need a couple of days. I'm making sense of it, as I'm sure you are too. But Kamala Harris did get 68 million votes, a decent number considering that she only had 100 days to put her campaign together. I would have liked President Joe Biden, when he addressed the nation today, to be a little less respectful and gentle. And, he talked about the peaceful transfer of power, but I would have liked a public service announcement from him. How to protect ourselves from this fascist beast. I mean, people are stockpiling abortion pills for fear of what is to come. Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, congratulated Trump on winning the election and said he was willing to talk to him. Trump has promised to quickly end the war in Ukraine, which began when Russia invaded in February 2022. But Trump has not said how. And most of us have worked out how. That he will basically roll over for Vladimir Putin. I mean, Putin also praised Trump today for surviving the assassination attempt. He said his behavior at the time of the attempt on his life made an impression on me. He turned out to be a courageous man, and it's not just about the raised hand and the call to fight for his and their common ideals. He behaved, in my opinion, said Putin, in a very correct way, courageously, like a man. This goes back to this masculinity, which to me is anything but. It's the patriarchy at work. Donald Trump spoke to NBC News and claimed that the mass deportations of undocumented immigrants that he campaigned on will be a top priority of his administration. He said, we obviously have to make the border strong and powerful, and we have to at the same time, we want people to come into our country, saying, I'm not somebody that says, no, you can't come in. We want people to come in. Well, he didn't say that 2 days ago. 2 days ago, the only rhetoric we were hearing was about the removal of 15 million people. How he expects to do that logistically, I have no idea. You think that 15 million people are going to go quietly, taken from their homes? Who's going to take them? How are you going to transport them? Who's going to pay for that? Trump said it's not a question of a price tag. It's not really. We have no choice. When people have killed and murdered, when drug lords have destroyed countries, and now they're going to go back to those countries because they're not staying here, there is no price tag, Trump said. How is he going to pick and choose the ones out of the 15 million that have committed the crimes? Nobody seems to care about the detail. And it's the same on the economy. Trump is going to crash and burn the US and probably the world economy. There will be a massive recession. If his tariffs are put into place, then the cost of living will go through the roof. That is the reality. And do we have to wait and just sit and wait? Just wait until it happens? We're in a limbo period now, aren't we? We have a couple of months between now and Inauguration Day. I mean, there will be quite a lot of backtracking and backpedaling on these promises. He might do things for the camera. He might deport a bunch of people who were going to be deported anyway and film it and put them in chains and make it look like he is being more aggressive than he really is. There's going to be a lot of political theatre to come. And that is very concerning. And I'm also keeping an eye out for how he plans on building his cabinet and these senior appointments, because that will be pretty devastating as well. You see, in my opinion, Trump has kind of checked out. You know, he wanted to win. All these legal cases are being shut down. He clearly is not going to go to prison. His presidential immunity is going to serve him very well. But I don't think he really wants to work. I don't think he has the energy to go into the Oval Office every day and sit at the Resolute desk and do his job. So my fear is that he will subcontract. He will delegate to people who are far more politically motivated than he is. People who really do not care what people think and will just enact some of these most extreme policies, and Trump will just sit by and let it happen because he doesn't want to do the work. Aside from these kind of Russian bomb threats, as far as we know, it was a secure and safe election. And for that reason, as pro-democracy people, we have to respect the result, no matter how much we dislike it. And we don't dislike it because we are soft liberals. We dislike it because it will have a detrimental effect on the very people that voted for him. Republicans need abortions too. We survived Donald Trump's presidency the first time, and together we will survive it again. I'm Anthony Davis. You can find me on the 5 Minute News YouTube channel and podcast. On Wednesdays, co-hosting Uncovered, and on Sunday on The Weekend Show with MeidasTouch.
Love this video? Make sure you stay up to date on the latest breaking news and all things Meidas by signing up to the MeidasTouch newsletter at MeidasTouch.com/newsletter.